Good morning, good morning. Starting to chill off out here. Saturday morning, absolutely beautiful. We got, oh, you can't even see it. Man, the phones never do the sunrise or sunset justice, but just about sunrise here. Today I want to talk about a little bit of a topic that it really is simplistic, but like this is something that frustrated the crap out of me once I understood it, because it's being forced on us, and a lot of times we don't get a choice in the beginning. Actually, you don't get a choice, but we continue to follow this path because we learn to accept it as that's how we should learn. And what I'm talking about today is the difference in a concept relay and an experience relay. Now, I'll break this down for you. So my son is in high school, and my kids are a huge influence on actually me getting to learn the world again. I learned it a certain way as I grew up, but that was only from the vantage point that I had. And so now, as a parent, I get to watch them experience it, and I get to see the good and the bad, help them, take the shortcuts to avoid the tough things I went through, and, giving them some extra benefits that, I didn't really get. And so watching my son, he's in 10th grade this year, very, very intelligent kid. He takes so many extended honors classes. I don't even know what they call them. A lot of them are actually dual credit for college. So he gets credit for taking the class in high school, and then he also gets college credits for it, so that when he finishes high school, he'll practically be done with a college degree. Now, that's all well and good, but watching him go through school, and he tells me about the stuff that they have to learn every day, or that they're being told they have to do work for, and there's almost nothing within it that is relevant to the outside world. It's only relevant to move forward within the school world. So math is a real easy example of this. For example, we only got a couple people on here right now. It's early Saturday morning, but if you took high-level math, or if you have ever taken, say, like calculus, like it makes you feel really good that you took calculus. Like, holy crap, I got through a class that has this connotation of being extremely hard, right? And so you feel good about it. But when you go to your job on Monday or whatever it may be, do you use calculus? Right? Like, we spend so much time in school learning things that aren't necessarily relevant to the actions of adult life. Now, this is broken down into those two concept and experience relay topics I was talking about, where in school, the kids are forced to learn from teachers who have no real choice other than to be a concept relay. Now, what this is basically they understand the topical features and the concepts behind things, and they teach those to the kids, and the kids have to reiterate those concepts, and then they get graded on their comprehension of the concepts, right? That's all well and good in the sense of becoming responsible and learning how to learn, and, putting back out like verbally credible information, whatever it may be. But like, the information itself, first of all, doesn't have a lot of extended value to go into the experience world. So calculus itself, maybe there are some things that could be used somewhere in a very specific role in the world. But the majority of people walk around with a smartphone in their pocket these days, and they don't need to know how to do calculus. They don't even need to know how to do high-level math. They barely need to know how to add and subtract or multiply, because it's not information that we have to use ourselves anymore. And so the concepts are continuing to be taught because of the structure. So school itself, the public school system, is almost 100% created around concept relay. All right, and this is the biggest problem with concept relay, is it is based on factual information and understanding, a basic understanding, Rosa, good to see you, of what those concepts are, right? But that's as far as it goes, because there's no actual implementation of the concepts. There's no place in the world where you have to know, the history of wars, or how to do calculus, or almost anything that they teach you in school. So number one, the school system is based around information that was put into curriculum many, many, many decades ago. Not years ago, decades ago. They've been teaching the exact same stuff. So my son is still learning the same stuff in 10th grade science class that he learned in 4th grade. No kidding. He tells me this so many times. Dad, we did this exact same stuff in 4th grade. So the information is so old, because when it was deemed as valuable in the world's implementation structure, it was a long time ago, because the world operated differently, right? And it takes a long time to get a curriculum approved to be able to be taught. And then it takes a long time to get that curriculum changed. It's a very, very slow process. And they're all just concepts. So the teachers themselves are at a disadvantage, because they're teaching information in a conceptual way that they themselves have never put into practice in the real world, because it's not a thing that happens. They didn't learn calculus and then come be a teacher using calculus. Unless you're a high-level math teacher, you don't use calculus once you learn calculus. And so the concepts of things are only relevant in the moment. And the concepts that have been taught in school for a very, very long time are now outdated. The world does not operate the same, because the rate of change has surpassed any updates to the content itself. The concepts within the content are just reiterated over and over, because that's what we did last year. Last year I taught the same exact program to the same exact kids. And my son has teachers who've been in this game for like 30 years. Man, if you're a teacher for 30 years and you don't teach any new content, that content is no longer relevant. I don't care what it is that you're teaching. It's not going to help you in the real world, all right? Mr. Louie, good to see you, my man. So teachers are at a disadvantage, because they can't be anything more than a concept relay, because the curriculum does not get updated, and the curriculum that they are teaching is not relevant to the real world, so they can't gain real life experience by using the content that they're teaching in their own real world lives. Okay, so the biggest problem that we are facing is the way that kids are being taught. And this is from the point of a concept relay. This is not from the point of an experience relay. And the difference is someone who understands the concepts of a topic and can tell you about them. An experience relay is somebody who utilizes the concepts of a topic and can teach you about their experience with them. So for example, we spend all of our young years in school learning concepts and not really implementing them until you get to like high school and you start to get into some of the like vocational classes. This was the first time when I was in 9th grade, I took a construction class and I started learning things that I had no idea what they were even talking about. But by the end of the class, we built an entire storage shed. All of the joists and the headers and the everything else. I don't remember it all because I don't use it, right? But like the point is, that was the only time I can remember up to that point where something that I was learning could actually be turned around and implemented in the real world, right? Where if you are learning from somebody how to do a thing, like construction, for example, they have to know how to do construction. And they have probably gone out and built things and pounded nails and done it wrong and had to take things apart because they messed up and put it back together. That is called experience. That is taking the information that you have learned out into the real world and implementing it. That's the difference, is implementation. If you learn something and you never have a chance to apply it in a situation, you will never remember it. Okay, so it's not actual effective learning unless you can act on the knowledge. But secondly, if you're learning something from someone who has never enacted that knowledge, that is just a concept relay that you get information from. When you go into that construction class, the dude that's a teacher is an experience relay. And that is who you need to be learning from. If you are hearing information, even from me, okay, anything you ever listen to on any of my talks is from my own personal experience. I cannot stand when people listen to something and then they come out and they just reiterate the same message in their own words. It's okay to do, but don't do it in the sense that you know what the hell you're talking about and you've gone through that experience. Let people know, hey, here's a topic I just heard about. This is something I thought was cool. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. If you are learning something, please make sure that you are learning from somebody who actually implements the information that they're giving you. So for example, I'm in the business world, I'm in the marketing world. And one of the things that I laugh at all the time is these people that claim to be coaches. So if you're out here and you're trying to make money online and learn how to build funnels and run campaigns and do a bunch of stuff, you need to learn from somebody who is actually doing that thing. Because if they're not doing it in the current world, the concepts that they are relaying to you may not actually be relevant because the information they got is outdated, okay? Or it's just not effective. Maybe it's not, outdated, it just doesn't work. So if you're learning from a coach, that coach better have a coach. Does that make sense? If you're learning from somebody how to do welding, that guy better be a welder. There better be somebody involved in that circle that person is learning from and implementing the knowledge in an experience point. They're doing the thing that they're telling you how to do in order to ensure that that information is not only relevant, but valuable and usable in today's world. For example, if you go into school and you have to learn all this math, and then you get out of high school and you got a smartphone in your pocket all the time, are you ever going to actually apply all these complicated ass formulas to anything? No, you're going to pull out your phone and you're going to type in the equation and it's going to give you the answer. All right, so having to learn complex things beyond the utilization point doesn't really make any sense. Why the hell would I sit here and learn complex algebra or whatever if I can literally just type it in and it's done? Computers do this for us. So guys, where I'm at today is the frustration between the concept relay effect that is forced on our children by people. The only experience that they are given is the repetition of teaching these concepts. My son's teacher, been there for 30 years. The only experience she has is reiterating this stuff year after year after year from 30 years ago. Dude, there's no way what you are teaching is still relevant in the rate of change that we have today, and you have no experience utilizing any of the information that you are teaching to these kids and forcing them to learn as though it's life and death when they leave school. And because the only thing that they get taught through a concept relay is the information given to them, there's no additional value. There's no anything that is actually taught that teaches them how to prepare for what is in the real world. The real world does not exist of calculus and social studies. It exists of social communication finance management, and ambition. There's not a damn piece of that exists in school today. The social aspect was removed because COVID now says, hey, you can't touch anybody or be within 6 feet of them. So please don't go by or near or talk to or touch anybody, right? So the only real benefit of going to school was the social engagement that got to happen between the kids. They learn how to socially communicate and interact, which is the biggest piece of it. That's what you do every single day when you go out into the real world and you get a job. You get to socially communicate with people. You get to figure out how to take their ideas and concepts and your ideas and concepts and merge them together so you guys can work in a cohesive fashion, right? Maybe you work by yourself, whatever, but you still have all of the other pieces that are missing of how to live and manage your world. It's not taught in school because those are not pieces that the teachers are even good at. The teachers suck at communication. They talk to the kids like children. Like, that was one of the things that my son told me. It was like, man, I finally got to high school and they don't treat me so much like a kid. Now, my son is 6'2". He's like bigger than most of the teachers. So for him, feeling like he's being treated like a child all the time is difficult, because he's like, look, I'm 16 years old. I'm bigger than you. Don't talk to me like a little 2-year-old. I probably have more intelligence than a lot of you guys. My son is very smart. I love him so. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today, because this is things that we don't really get to discuss out in the real world. And I've talked to several people about these things, and it's the same resounding feelings that you're kind of powerless when you send your kids to school and they're forced into this learning structure that's broken and ineffective. And we want to have a good life for our kids. We want to have a good life for ourselves. Many of you as adults listening to this maybe don't have the life that you want. And a lot of times it is because we are taking direction from people who are concept relays and not from people who are experience relays, people who have done the thing that we are trying to do. So that's the shortcut. First of all, if you want to learn something, figure out, is it applicable in the real world? That's always my thing, is like ROI. If I'm going to spend time learning something, am I going to be able to use it? And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to find someone who already knows how to do that real well. They're doing it currently because their methods of operation are now showing to be, current, right? They're relevant to the current moment. And so if you can find someone who is already doing the thing that you want to learn, you're going to learn a lot faster than if you are trying to just hear it from somebody who thinks they know how to do a thing, right? So if you're watching a YouTube video, watch a YouTube video of somebody doing the thing or actually walking you through the process. Somebody who's like, oh, here's the steps to do a thing, but then they never show you how to do the thing. They probably don't know how to do it themselves. They're just like, oh, I watched a YouTube video and here was the steps they said. All right. The first person doing the thing knows how to do the thing. They're going to teach you extra little tips and tricks and, oh, watch out for this little thing. And here's, something to be paying attention to over here, whatever. And that'll allow you to learn the things that you want to learn in an implementable fashion that's relevant to today's operational function. But secondly, for your kids, if you have kids, there's not really a doubt that you want them to grow up and have a good world, a good life once they leave that parent realm, right? And the biggest thing is teaching them the skills to live in the real world. Get them bank accounts, let them spend money, show them how to manage in and out, make them answer the phone and call adults and talk to them in a real world situation. Let them get jobs when they're young. My son's been running a lawn mowing business for 3 years. He's made thousands of dollars, thousands, since he was like 13. He now has the ability to walk out of high school and make as much or more money than the teachers that are teaching him without any use of calculus or social studies. So being able to go out and have an experience in something that you can exchange for value out in the real world, that's how you make money. People will give you money for the value and experience that you have. But if you sit here and just listen to concepts and you never actually implement any of them, you're not going to learn them on a deep level where you get that actual skill. But secondly, you're not going to be learning from people who are going to show you the best way to do it. You want to learn from the people who are currently in the moment grinding, doing the thing. You want to become a welder, find a current welder. You can go through an apprenticeship. You can get in there for free and learn all the skills and watch them for 6 months, and maybe there is some sacrifice in it, but when you come out on the other side and you can actually weld some stuff, man, that's a valuable piece of skills that you can then monetize, go out in the real world and get a job, okay? And then once you've done a thing enough, you could actually teach somebody else how to do it, and they will pay you to learn your knowledge because you have experience doing the thing. All right, so guys, if you can give your kids any leg up in the world, teach them about real life experiences. Like, you go into a restaurant, teach them how to interact with the waitress, to ask for food, and to give them the payment at the end, and to fill out the little ticket where you write the tip in. Stuff like that is not taught. We assume kids are going to watch us do it enough times because we took them out 100 times. They should know how this works. You watch me do it over and over. If you aren't directly telling them steps of what they need to do and having them take the experience leap themselves, they get out in the real world, they're like, what? This person wants a tip? You got to be kidding me. All they did was bring me my food. No, man. This is this person's livelihood. And they just took this experience and brought you your food and was very nice about it and asked you how it was doing and if you wanted more refills and all that kind of stuff, right? It's a skill they're providing. And so these are the things that as parents we know are valuable, but we look past them in the value that they contain because we weren't taught that these are valuable. In school, we were never taught how to tip correctly, or how to enter a parking lot in a safe manner and allow somebody to turn in front of you and not park in front of the gap where they got to turn in, and just stuff, the stuff in life that we learn through experience that was never taught to us in a structural conception implementation way. Once you understand things and you've gone through it, you know the value and you know what you need to teach to your kids to be able to show them the points of how to become a valuable person in the social world. When you get out of school, you get to choose your interactions. School is forced interaction. You don't get a choice of who's in your school, who's in your class, who your teacher is, any of that, right? But once you get out of that and you get to start to decide, who am I going to hang out with? Who am I going to spend time around? What kind of environment am I going to create for myself? Those are the pieces that you want to teach your kids to allow them to make good choices when they go out and you're no longer there as a parent. Because guys, at the end of the day, as parents, we spend the whole time trying to figure out how to be good parents. And you learn and you get better and you mess up and you do it again. And you keep getting better and better until the point where you feel like you finally kind of got it down as a parent. And by that point, kids are grown up. They no longer need you as a parent, all right? So make sure that you teach them the things every single day as you go down your daily routines. Teach them the things that are valuable in the world. How to put ice in a cup and fill up the cup. And then if you want to mix it up, take the back of a spoon and push down on the top of the ice through the cup. And all of that will mix the ice and the drink together. Little stuff like that is very valuable to help somebody have a good life. So, guys, I appreciate your time today. The difference in a concept relay and experience relay is vast, and it is in very, very dire need for you to learn only from people who are experienced relays in any point possible. Sometimes you're forced in that concept relay education. It's okay, take that information and do what you need to do with it. But consciously choose to learn from people with experience. You're going to get better information, and it's going to be a better experience in the learning process. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me. If you have any questions out of this, hit me up. If not, we'll see you next time.